up, gamers? I'm Jason.
I'm Julie.
And today on Dice and Dragons, we are going to be reviewing Street Masters Legends of Oni. It is the expansion for Street Masters Rise of the Kingdom. Now, before Julie tells you more about the game itself, we are just going to discuss as to why we are not in our usual filming space. So what's going on, Julie?
For those who've been following the videos, you've noticed we don't have our normal setup. Unfortunately, we have stuff going on in the basement where the filming area is set up, and it's taking a little bit longer than planned. So we wanted to bring some content to you, so we figured we'd bring it upstairs. And so apologies if you don't have the normal look.
Yeah, and that's one of the reasons why we decided to film some expansion content. Don't worry, we're going to have some great stuff coming for you. We've got some new games, and definitely keep a lookout for Born to Serve. Hopefully a review for that will be out next week. And before I forget, the Street Masters game system is designed by Brady and Adam Sandler. I said Sandler, but it's Sadler. I'm going to leave that in because that's a little funny. And it's published by Blacklist Games. That being said, Julie, tell them more about the expansion.
So, like the game that it's meant to expand on, it is a cooperative game. It's intended for 1 to 4 people, ages 14 and above, and also plays on a little bit on the lengthy side, 40 minutes to 120, or could be a little bit longer depending on the scenario and how fast you're playing.
Also depends on the characters. There's a lot of variety with regards to the game, and I would say you really can't use the time limit. It doesn't really follow because never know. Allies do make it a lot easier though.
Yep.
Now this is a Kickstarter exclusive expansion, so most people that own Street Masters will have it. If you don't, I will suggest that you try to find it, and we'll talk more about that in our review. And just one last thing, for those of you that don't know Street Masters, this is your first video of ours, well, take a look up above. There'll be a card linking you back to our Street Masters review and how to play. But if you choose to continue on in the video, just going to let you know how you play Street Masters. There's a stage. You're going to be playing with 1 to 4 players. You may or may not have allies and rivals. What you need to do is manage the stage, fight off the boss's minions, and defeat the boss in the time allotted to beat the game. With that being said, Julie, what time is it?
It's time to grab our drinks.
Grabbing our drinks. Grabbing our best friend.
And we're going to take it to the table.
I'm going to take it to the table. So who are you going to be this time? I mean, you kind of wanted to be Megan all the time, and kind of seemed like that was the only fighter you were going to play.
I'll find another woman that kicks ass.
All right. She already kicks ass, by the way. Now we're going to take a quick look at the components for Legend of Oni, the expansion for Street Masters. Now, I'm a little bit at the mercy of natural lighting right now, but doing my best to make sure that everything is visible. So let's take a look at the game board. We're going to start with Ashes of the Eternal. And just like in Street Masters Rise of the Kingdom, they are double-sided. So you have Ashes of the Eternal, the Ceremony. I'll just take this off camera quickly, and you can see the other game boards. We have Running Wild as well as One Step Ahead. So these are the 4 new stages that you're going to be getting in this expansion. We also get a lot more of the components that we might actually have too many of with regards to the defense tokens for punch, kick, and grapple. They're also used as power tokens. We also get some more damage markers in terms of 1, 5, 10, and 25 denominations. We get the new fire markers that are used on certain stages. So keep an eye out for those. You don't want to be damaging yourself. And we get some more of the rubber marker rings that you can use to identify which enemy is which. We also get the Legend of Oni story deck. That is a full story mission that's going to use all the components that you see before you. Now we also get these card dividers, which will be used to separate the cards when they're in storage. Really looking forward to getting the new Aftershock box, have everything in one spot. Now we do have new enemies. We have the Oni, as you can see right here. This is the enemy deck, the reference cards. You can see the miniatures and what types of enemies we're going to get. We've got the Yurei Shadow, which is the shadow of the Yurei Ninja. let's just pick up the mini so you can take a look at it. As you can see, it's translucent, looks pretty cool. I actually like the pose for the ninja miniature. It's the exact same pose as your Yurei Ninja, except that he's not translucent. What's really interesting is that if you defeat a Yurei Ninja and there's a Yurei Shadow, this guy will stay in play. And what's really interesting, that when you see the Yurei Shadow, you'll notice that he doesn't do damage, but he's got some cool mechanics that we're not really going to go into. It's the same as with any other enemy deck that you may find in Street Masters. We've got the Kitsune villain, so she's a new villainess. Like the miniature, like the hair. Also, you've got the almost the fox-like tail, which I dig as well. And she's a pretty nasty enemy. We also have two minis for the boss. So we've got Yokai, and then we have Shin Yokai, his powered up form, which is definitely pulling from some Japanese anime in my opinion, especially the ninjas as well. So your boss card for the Oni, you've got Yokai, and then on the other side, you've got Shin Yokai, his powered up form. Kind of reminds me of Goku a little bit. Now we can take a quick look at the other components we have. We've got the stage deck. So stage deck for Ashes of the Eternal and the stage setup. Stage deck for One Step Ahead and its setup. We've got the stage deck and setup for Running Wild, as well as the ceremony. And just like in Street Masters, you're going to be pulling cards and seeing what happens as you go through the stage deck. Now, one thing I did want to mention, and it's in the errata, this Oni Vessel card is supposed to actually be double-sided. It should be summoning and harnessed. So keep that in mind. It was one of the things that confused us when we were playing the ceremony. But definitely take a look at the errata if you do have any questions. And that's it. We've gone through all the components that we have for Street Masters Legend of Oni. Now keep it right here as Julie and I are coming back at you with a review of the expansion. Now, before we go off to our review of the game, I realized I neglected to showcase the new loot cards that you get in Legend of Oni. Now, I do realize this is a little far away from the camera. It's the lowest setting that we've got for the top-down. So I'm going to pick these up, showcase what they are, and I'll try to do some modifications for it in post. Now, what you do get are the sneakers. Now, this you can discard during a kick attack to add +2 red die. I really like the lead pipe. You discard this card to deal 3 direct damage to an adjacent enemy, meaning you hit them no matter what defense tokens they've got. We then have the brass knuckles, which you can discard during a punch attack to gain an extra 2 die. Leather whip does the same thing as the other ones, except it's for a grapple attack. And then we've got the Molotov cocktail, which you may choose a space within 3 spaces. Throw the Molotov cocktail there, and then each figure in that space or adjacent to it suffers 3 general damage. So some really cool cards that you get. We've now covered everything that comes in the expansion Legend of Oni. We're now going to move on to our review of the expansion. Street Masters Legends of Oni. What did you think of the game?
Well, I think obviously, as you said, you're only going to have this expansion if you've played the other game, you've played Street Masters, and
you kickstarted it actually. Yeah.
Okay, and you enjoyed the game, right? So you want to pull this out if you enjoyed it and you're looking for more content. I think you're getting very similar mechanics and very similar ideas. You've just got some new enemies. You've got some new loot.
Yes. And new stages, don't forget that.
And the new stages. So basically you're getting more content so that you can add some replayability to the game. Right? Am I missing something?
No, I don't think you're really missing anything. That's really what you're getting in this box. I mean, it even says so on the back of the box. And some more rings so that you can identify all of the different enemies, the plastic
so
face
the shadow, speaking of rings and minions, so you've got some shadow, what were they called?
The Yurei Shadows.
Yes. So the
Yurei
ninjas
means ghost, by the way, in Japanese. So they're supposed to be Yurei ninjas. They're ghost ninjas, and those are ghost shadows.
Okay. Well, I thought they were pretty cool because they look like ghosts, right? They're transparent plastic.
Transparent.
So that was pretty cool. So I can't pronounce what character that I play.
You were playing Yinhua.
Yinhua. So she was
Yinhua.
Okay. So she was
being particular for people that actually do speak Mandarin, and I know there are a lot of you, and there's actually a lot more that are getting into board games.
I thought she was fun. I mean, she's very different from Megan. But once you figure out how her character works, and I thought I was pretty good at slowing down the boss basically, and getting rid of additional minions. So I thought she was fun. I played her in both campaigns that we tried because I really wanted to see how she was with allies and without. I'll definitely say the game is definitely a lot easier to play when you're playing with allies. We played without allies on I think a scenario that's a little bit easier. Maybe
I think it's significantly easier. If I'm not mistaken, it does seem based on how I put everything in the box, it felt like the first sort of scenario from the story, because you do have a whole Legend of Oni story that you can play through, and it felt like the first stage because once we had things handled, it wasn't that difficult.
So the second one we played, I don't know what the title of the campaign's called. It's the one where there's fire.
Basically. I think it's Ashes of Eternity or something along those lines.
So that one was definitely easier and can definitely be played without allies.
You could probably play the one that we played, the ceremony, without allies, but that is, from what I take, it's the final mission. So we started off with the final mission, but it was quite clear that without allies, we would have lost that scenario.
Yeah. So I mean, I thought it was fun. It's nice to have some new content. We enjoyed this game the first time we took it out. You really like this game.
I know I really want to get into the story mode, but with all the different games we have to play, we've yet to sort of start a Street Master story. Maybe we've got some vacation coming up. Maybe that'll be one of the things that we can play through and do a quick review on the channel, talk about a whole story.
You think we have different background now? We're planning on bringing something to you from a chalet by a lake, so we'll see how that works.
Yes, that's why it might be some more stuff that's like a little, story reviews, follow-ups on some games that we played, campaign reviews, things like that.
So, I mean, I don't really have anything negative to say about Street Masters. I enjoy playing it. This is basically more of the same. Some of the loot was pretty cool. I can't honestly remember.
Actually, I got a few negatives to say about this expansion, but the loot is one of them. Actually, but
for me, I thought it was pretty good, and I don't have anything negative to say about it. So, since on that note, what would you like to add?
Add to this? Well, I want to say I do really like the expansion, and I actually think this is almost like a necessary expansion for the Street Masters game system, because with regards to some of the loot, like the sneakers, the brass knuckles, they definitely enhance certain attacks. Mm-hmm. And if I'm not mistaken, I do believe there was, I believe the brass knuckles for punching attacks are actually in the base game, but like the sneakers and the one that it's the whip that enhances the grappling attacks are only in Legends of Oni. And it almost feels like this expansion should have been part of the main game. Well, it would make the main game more expensive, but I find it a negative that this is a Kickstarter exclusive expansion because of the loot cards primarily. I would hope that Blacklist Games and the Sadler Brothers, when you do finally get Street Masters to retail, I know that's one of your big goals. If you want to keep Legend of Oni as a Kickstarter exclusive, I definitely think you should release the loot cards at least as maybe an expansion pack that people can buy, because I felt that those really sort of enhance the Street Masters experience, because I really don't think we would have succeeded without some of the loot cards that we had and being able to deal that massive amount of damage. I just think it really enhances the game. That being said, I do like the fact that we do have some exclusive items for those of us that did back the Kickstarter, and I know you've made this available on your website in the past. So if you have found Street Masters at retail and there are still copies of Legends of Oni out there on the Blacklist Games website, definitely go pick it up. I recommend it. Getting 4 stages, getting a new minion group, a new story, as well as the new loot items. It almost feels like this is something that you really want to have with your game. If you don't have it, you'd be missing out. And that's really the negative that I have with the expansion. Now, it doesn't make sense that this expansion is the Kickstarter exclusive. The other one, Twin Dragons, does give you new heroes. And typically that's what people like to have more of, new heroes. But I do find there is some few small balancing elements that are great about this game, and the amount of stages you're getting, 4 stages, is very good. That being said, as Julie pointed out though, it is also just more of the same. which is a good thing and potentially a bad thing. You're not getting any new fighters. You're not getting really any new techniques, but you are expanding on your Street Masters content. It's just that it's currently exclusive. Whereas I feel a little bit differently about it, and that's kind of odd because I kickstarted the game. But I really want everyone to be able to enjoy the best of Street Masters.
I think you want everybody to enjoy Street Masters, let's be honest.
I think so. I mean, played with a few people, and we've had people been like, oh, I don't get this, but when people get it, they're like, that game is so cool, and they really want to play again. So that's the one thing I do like about it, is a lot of depth into the game, and also the variability of the system. This really wasn't something we planned to do after reviewing Brook City, but playing Brook City and then playing Street Masters, we realized that despite it being based on the same system, the games feel entirely different.
They feel pretty different, yeah.
Yeah. You're doing the same thing with your cards and trying to have different combos, but the way you combo stuff in Street Masters is nothing like what you're doing in Brook City. Mm-hmm. I think we've covered everything we want to say about the game.
Do you want to give it your rating?
I'll give it my rating. So with regards to this, I'm going to give it I almost want to give it an 8, but I don't think it's quite an 8. In terms of being an expansion itself, it's definitely a 7, but those loot cards bump it up. So 7.5.
It's funny because I was going to say the same thing. As an expansion, because it's just more of the same, and if you want to be fair to the same way we've rated other games, as a more of the same, it's a 7. Because it's not adding a lot of new mechanics or anything like that to the game. Mm-hmm. That being said, this game is a lot of fun, and I'm getting more content, so I'll bump it. I agree with you. I'd bump it up to a 7.5.
Yeah, the loot cards just kind of put it just over the top of that 7 for me, just with how they actually affect how you're going to be playing the base game, getting some of those great loot cards. I mean, I was playing Megan, and I had sneakers, and it was a lot of fun. Fortunately, I didn't really play any new heroes. I played 2 different heroes, but still really like those 2. Probably my favorites right now. Kyoryu and Megan.
Yeah.
So, what time is it then, Julie?
Well, before we do that, as you say, Jason, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit that notification button. What about social media?
Don't forget to look down below in the video description. You will find links to all of our social media feeds. I know we've been a little quiet on some of them as of late. Don't worry, we are working to get some more content out there for you. So, just down below there.
If you go on Instagram, you can see the status of our game collection at the moment, given renos happening in the filming area.
You can see almost all of it there.
Not quite all of it.
No, I looked at the amount that's not there. I think there's like 20 games not there, including expansions.
So that being said, now it's time to grab our drinks.
Wait, but there's one thing they need to remember that's popping up. Links to other videos will be popping up right in front of us.
Including original.
Yes, including a link back to the original Street Masters review. So
now it's time to grab our drinks.
Grab our best friend.
And we'll keep playing games.
Keep playing games. We're going to keep playing this one. Definitely need to get the story mode played.
Yeah, once we can set up our gaming area again.
Yes, we definitely need to get back down there.